Okay, well, I'm Alicia. I obviously love dogs. These are just half of my dogs, but these are the two that I'm going to be focusing on today. So I decided to bring them with me. So I train, breed, and then I'm a gear maker for service dogs. So Kira, this is Kira. This is Apollo, the black one. My daughter Kensley, and my husband Justin. So that's my family.
Okay,
cool.
tell us about how it was when you grew up in your town, and then your high school experience, and then how did you get to be where you are today?
Okay, so how it was growing up in my town. So I didn't actually grow up in town. I grew up in the middle of nowhere. I literally live on the top of a mountain and no neighbors. So that's where I grew up, but my town is pretty small. It has about 300 people in it, maybe, and my school had about 60 people. My graduating class was 20 people. So it was very small. We all knew each other, very tight-knit group of people. So yeah, my high school experience, it wasn't fantastic because I struggled with depression and anxiety throughout my entire high school, and I didn't actually realize that I had that until I moved down here and I got evaluated by a psychologist and found out that I struggle with depression and anxiety really, really bad. And that's when I got Kira. She is specifically trained for me. So she's my retired service dog. This is my service dog in training, the puppy. And they are psych service dogs. So they are trained for. They're trained for specifically post-traumatic stress. So, but yeah, my high school, it was fun. There was aspects of it that was fun, but I did struggle with depression quite a bit through high school, so it wasn't my prime time of life. So.
How did you know to move down here?
So, my family always said, like, when you graduate, you move out, like, right away. I chose not to go to college. I also have a lot of family down here, so.
So you had people you knew that you could come down.
I had quite a bit of my family lives down here. Actually, most of my family lived down here, so.
So you knew people.
Yeah. So that's how I came down here, and then I met my husband online. So.
Not at a bar.
No.
My son met his wife at a bar, so and that didn't work very good.
Oh, okay. What are you doing?
What's a treat? Okay, so you came here. How did you know to go get tested? What happened there?
So, I actually went and got tested because of my husband. He actually convinced me to get evaluated by a psychologist or doctor, and they put me on antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication. I knew that there was something wrong because I could never leave my house without feeling super, super anxious or going into a panic attack. I've also had some traumatic experiences in my life, which is why I have PTSD, so which they help with, and I knew obviously that the result of that was probably not good.
I wanted to do it in high school, but I wanted to be a doctor more, so that was my push. But I did a lot of like motocross riding and stuff like that. I ended up breaking quite a few bones, and the last one really screwed up my left hand, so that kind of shot the career as a doctor. And so I then walked into a job with some family friends of ours that own a lot of gas stations around here. And so I had a general manager job, so I was making quite a bit of money, and I'd gone to school for business, so I was helping in that aspect. I took over a lot of the billing and receiving, stuff like that. And so I was like, okay, cool, like that works. So I did that job for a while. I ended up leaving to go to another job that a friend of ours owned, and I was getting paid more there. So I was like, oh, I'm getting paid quite a bit. Like I don't necessarily need to get a degree or anything like that. And then I recently just got let go from that job. So I was like, all right, it's time to do something I wanted to do.
Is anybody afraid of dogs here?
No.
No.
No? Okay, are you okay if I like let him off leash? Because he is...
Yeah.
Wish we treats?
We have
You guys,
food
I
I
have
should bring some
food.
dog treats.
Okay,
Do you
yeah.
have some?
Yeah, I do have some food if you guys want to, like, I can, dude, yeah, I bet that hurt, huh? I bet it hurt. So I have food. I would just give him like 2 or 3, if you guys have him do a treat or a trick for it. So you guys can ask him to sit, lay down, stay.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, so tell us when your job is to train these animals to help other people.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to start breeding German Shepherds for service work specifically. And so they will have service dog temperaments. Hey, hide. What is that?
So you have to teach them how to be a service animal.
Yeah, and I'm going to train specifically for psych purposes, not for like seeing eye dog or like seizure alert or anything like that. I'm specifically going to be doing psych work with them. Poor kid. So yeah, so that's what I train for. And I'm training, she's retired, so she no longer works. I just have her service vest on. But for show, to see what it looks like. He is currently in training. So they are my specifically service dogs, but I want to train for other people too. So that's what I do.
Like where do you start? Like how do you start with that?
Sit. Hey.
Do you get them as, like this is a puppy, but how old is this one?
So he's about 6 months.
Just
so,
6 months? Is he that big?
Yeah, he's a Great Pyrenees Border Collie mix, so he's gonna be pretty big. And the reason I chose him is for, so I need a bigger dog because I have tasks that need a bigger dog. One of those tasks is called deep pressure therapy, which he helps me with when I go into like a panic attack or a flashback. He'll actually push me to the ground and get on top of me and act as a weighted blanket on me in public, so I don't have to carry around this weighted blanket. I have him. And then another one is counterbalance. So I get dizzy spells often. So what he does, well, when he gets cleared by a vet and he's big enough and strong enough, he will kind of act as a balance for me so that I can kind of lean on him when I get dizzy. So I needed a dog that was a little bit more stockier and, hey, and that was bigger. But so that's how I chose them. But I am going to be breeding German Shepherds specifically for.
And is German Shepherd the breed to use? I mean, is there certain breeds that are better than others?
There's Golden Retriever is pretty good, Lab, and then German Shepherd are probably the most known for service work, but you can use pretty much any dog can be a service dog. Obviously Kira's a husky, so you can do pretty much any dog, like they can be a service dog. So
they just have good challenges.
Yeah.
Because Kira's very bullheaded because she's a husky.
Yeah.
So German Shepherds have to drive more to work than to rebel. But
each breed has kind of negatives to them. I mean, German Shepherds are huge shedders along with huskies. So obviously, like if you have a problem with shedding, a standard poodle would be more of what you would want. But for me, I don't have a problem with shedding, so I chose him. But I mean, German Shepherds shed a lot. They're extremely intelligent, so they can actually, I don't know, like outsmart you almost and not want to do what you tell them to do. Leave it. And then like Golden Retrievers, obviously they're great. They have what's called a soft mouth, so they're awesome for like retrieving stuff and going and getting stuff that you need, especially if you don't want it to be broken. But they're also incredibly smart, so they will kind of outsmart you. Labs have a very high drive, so they need a lot of exercise and stuff like that. So each breed kind of has their pros and cons. You just kind of have to weigh out which one.
Did you have to go to some special school to learn how to do this?
So me personally, no, because that's why I'm not training for seeing eye dogs or anything like that. If you wanted to train for like service work like that, you would have to, yes. And I would go to like animal behavior college, or I know there's one in Florida that's really awesome. And you would go to get certified as a trainer. Apollo, come here. But me specifically, no, I just train psych dogs because I know how to do it already. So that's why I'm specializing in training, like for psychological problems for service work. So.
Do any of you students know anyone that uses a therapy dog like this? Do you have any friends, or do you really know relatives that do that?
No, but one time I was playing basketball at the rec center. I saw a service dog at the rec. It was a German Shepherd. It was like a baby.
Oh yeah, puppy. Yeah. They start young. They definitely start young. You want to start training them around 8 to 9 weeks is when you want to get your dog, and then you start training them pretty much then and there. So like as you can see, he's 6 months old and he pretty much knows a lot of stuff. He knows basic commands and stuff like that. He just needs to be task trained a little bit more. He knows deep pressure therapy. But Apollo, come. I need him to learn like crowd control and stuff like that, because I do have anxiety, which is another reason why I got a bigger breed of dog, because I want more space between people and me if I'm in a big crowd. So crowd control, he will pace around me and actually do circles around me as I walk so that people keep a distance from me. So he needs to learn that, and obviously like block and stuff like that. But he does know DPT, so, or deep pressure therapy. So
What's this what?
so that's when he like lays on top of me.
Okay.
When I have an anxiety attack, panic attack, flashback, anything like that, he lays on top of me. I also have a problem with, I've been traumatized so much that when I go into a panic attack, I sometimes dissociate, and so I will run out into like oncoming traffic, or stuff like that can like kill me or harm me. So his job is going to be to push me down and block my way of getting out into like oncoming traffic or anything like that.
It's kind of like if I have a broken arm and want to go see the doctor that fixes broken arms. If I have tooth problems, I'm going to go see the dentist. If I have something going on in my head that it's hurting me or I need help with, I'm going to go see that kind of doctor.
And a lot of people don't believe in like mental like problems or like the stereotype of mental health, but it is a real thing. I don't know if any of you guys struggle with depression or anxiety or anything like that, but it is a very real thing, and obviously it takes people's lives every year. So Apollo, come here. So that's why I have my service dogs, but yeah, so you just have to qualify for a disability, and then like that's how you get a service dog, and then obviously you get set up with a trainer or you owner train. So
and where do you get them at? Like, does the doctor tell you where to go to get them?
Not usually. You kind of just have to research for yourself, like online. Like I just took what needs I needed for me in particular, which was a bigger breed of dog, and then I took a smart breed of dog, like a border collie, and I mixed it with a breed of dog that was going to be bigger, which led me to him. But so you kind of just have to think of,
do some homework.
Yeah, think of your own needs, and then there are places that train service dogs. If you want that, you can Google trainers in your area and stuff like that, and they'll pop up. So if you want to have a trainer train your service dog, they can, or you can owner train. So it kind of just depends on what you want to do. But
do you have to have a big yard at your house to have these kind of dogs?
For him, not so much. He's kind of lazy. But for Kira, yes, she's a husky, so she's very high drive. And she gets bored very easily. So, yeah, we do have a big yard. We also, we breed. So we breed Akitas at the moment. So, and they are big breed of dog. So, yeah, we have a pretty big yard. So.
Are there some special, like for general public? Because like when my last class finished, they all wanted, oh, there's a dog. Are there some etiquette things that we need to know about when we see a
Yeah,
dog?
so there's actually 3 different kinds of dogs. So I heard somebody say that I have an emotional support animal outside, That's actually not the same thing as a service dog. So there's 3 different dogs that help people. So one is an emotional support animal, which the only access that they get apart from like a typical pet dog is they get to be in non-pet friendly housing, and then they can fly with you. That's the only thing that they have. The emotional support animal is pretty much just there to comfort you, and that's it. And comfort is not a trained task, so they aren't allowed in stores or anything like that.
So would this dog be able to take you to the airport and could fly with them?
Yes. Yep.
Because he has his vest on.
Yes. But so they don't have to have a vest on them.
Outside.
So
Take a book and put it at the door because the door's always locked. That way.
So they don't have to have a vest on them. It's not required. So if you see a dog in a store that doesn't have a vest that is well trained, it's probably great, Justin's gonna have to clean that up. It's probably a service dog. If it's well trained, if it's, you know, pulling at the lead and stuff like that. Kira, leave it. If it's pulling at the lead and stuff like that, then it's not. Yeah, it's probably not a service dog, and it's probably somebody that's faking their pet as a service dog, which happens a lot actually. An ESA, like I said, isn't allowed in anywhere except for on the plane with you, and then in non-pet friendly housing, they do not have public access rights. A service dog is task trained, and they are trained to like help with a disability, so like DPT, crowd control, seizure alert, picking up stuff for people that are in wheelchairs, they can't reach stuff on the floor, whatever, retrieving stuff, opening doors. Those are tasks that you train dogs to do, and that makes them a service dog. So they have gone through extensive training to be able to own, like, I guess, have that status of going into places with you. So, and then therapy dogs are for other people. So I'm actually thinking about getting her as a therapy dog since she's retired as a service dog. I think she would be really, really good at therapy work. But therapy dogs are not for yourself, they're for other people. So, therapy dogs, they, sit. So therapy dogs are for other people that are like in hospitals, or if they're like, I don't know, there's a ton of different things, like you can bring them to nursing homes. They pretty much just help people, stop. They help people, I don't know, they comfort people, but it's kind of difficult to explain. They're for other people. They're not for yourself, like emotional support animals are. They're for other people specifically. So that's the difference between an ESA, a service dog, and a therapy animal. So these guys are service dogs because they're task trained for me. If they were a therapy dog, like I'm trying to get Kira into, she'll be going around hospital rooms and stuff like that, which will make her a therapy dog, and she'll comfort other people. ESAs are just to comfort you when you have issues or whatever. So, sit. You are in trouble. Sit. So that's the difference between the 3 different ones. So 3 different types of dogs. So, but yeah. So as far as like college stuff goes, like I didn't have to go to college specifically for the stuff that I do. I breed dogs, and then the third one that I haven't really talked about is I make gear for service animals. So I did bring some patches that I have made. So you guys can look at these. So these are patches that I make for service dogs. I make sew-on, which don't have Velcro on the back, and then I make ones that go on service dog vests that have Velcro. And that's something else that I do. And I didn't have to go to school for that either. I just bought the equipment that I needed to like do it, and then I just started up doing it. So I didn't go to any college for any of mine, but like Justin, he's going to college to be like a police officer. So there are some areas where you do need college. He's also helping me as far as like business side of things. Like obviously they all take business licenses and stuff like that. So
maybe
he helps
a little
me in
bit
that.
of business in schooling.
Mm-hmm. So if you want to take business in school, or like I don't know if you guys offer that in high school, but business would be good if you want to be an entrepreneur, which is pretty much you work for yourself, you own your own business, which is what I do. Some sort of business would be good, which is where my husband has, because I didn't take any business whatsoever, but my husband has gone to school for business, so he's kind of helped me in that aspect of stuff. So.
And when that baby gets a little older, maybe starts kindergarten, that's going to give you a little more time to not only do your job with your dogs, but maybe get some online classes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This doesn't sound fun, but good for you. I'm glad I'm done.
Yeah. So, yeah. But.
Okay.
Any other questions?
What other questions you guys might have?
Oh, why can't we make eye contact?
So it usually just distracts them when we're walking through a store and people say, "Oh, cute puppy," and they like make kissing noises at them or anything like that. It really makes our job as service dog handlers really, really hard to keep them focused on us, because like I said, one of his tasks is to alert to an anxiety attack or a panic attack before it even happens. So that I don't have to lay down in a store and have DPT in a store. So, which is awkward, really, really awkward. People like look at you like, why are you laying on the floor? So that's one of his tasks. And if people distract them, he could miss that. So my heart rate changes with like anxiety attacks and stuff like that. And he's going to be trained to detect when my heart changes. But if people are distracting them, like making eye contact with them, kissing at them, calling their names, whatever, it distracts them. And even if it's for a split second, that second could mean somebody else's life. There's dogs trained for seizure alert and stuff like that. And that's literally like their dog is their lifeline. And so they just need them to be focused on their handler at all times, and so that they can detect when a seizure is coming and they can prevent that seizure, or a migraine's coming, or a panic attack is coming, whatever. Like I said, he saves my life, or will be saving my life, when I like try and run out into oncoming traffic. And if somebody's like making kissing noises to him or calling his name or whatever, he could distract from his job, and I could potentially be hurt or die because somebody else was distracting my dog from doing his job. So that is why people are supposed to completely ignore them if they're in stores. Obviously there are fakes out there. There's a lot of people that fake service dogs, and it's a struggle as a service dog community. It's a huge struggle because fakes will lunge at our real service dogs, and potentially, I know several different people that have had fake service dogs that are just people's pets. They've put vests on or whatever, and they go into stores and they have lunged at their service dog, and they've had to wash them, which is another term of they just retire them early because they can no longer do their job. They're too nervous out in public. They don't focus on their handler anymore. They're too worried about being attacked by another dog. So that's kind of the etiquette that you need to have, like when somebody brings a service dog into a store. Like I said, they don't have to be vested. They could have leash wraps like this. This says service dog in training, and it's just a leash wrap. And then there's some that have vests. And unfortunately, they're really easy to access online and stuff like that. And people do fake their service dogs or therapy dogs or whatever. And they bring their pets into stores like Walmart. Walmart's one of the worst ones to go to as a service dog handler. I like try and avoid Walmart at all costs because there are a ton of fakes out there that they bring their pets in and then they attack my service dog, and then I have to wash my dog that I've put thousands and thousands of hours of training and task training. And you know, some service dogs are, you know, they're a lot of money. They're $3,000-$4,000 for just a dog. So it's really disappointing when somebody's fake service dog attacks your real service dog. So if you ever see like a dog like pulling at the leash or barking or sniffing like food products or getting up on like tomatoes and stuff like that, like it's probably a fake service dog. And they don't correct it, I guess I should say. Like if somebody corrects it, it's probably in training and you should probably give them the benefit of the doubt. But if they don't correct it and they just like drag their dog along and they're like pulling at the leash, trying to smell people and stuff like that, or if they're in a shopping cart, a lot of people put their dogs in shopping carts. They're not actually supposed to. So it's just a sanitary thing and respect for other people. We want respect for us as service dog handlers, so we need to respect you know, the rest of the public too, by not putting our filthy dogs in carts. So, but yeah, so those are a few things that you can, if there's a fake, like those are a few.
Now, do you guys remember the questions that you wrote down? That Miss Caroline had you write down? Some questions when you meet with the person that you think you want to, you know, some ideas. So think of those questions right now that you might want to ask her.
Yeah.
So you said that they can like help with migraines. I know personally I have some. How do they like help?
So migraines, they can do deep pressure therapy, which is one of the tasks that they can perform. Another one, you'd have to get probably with a trainer for that, and get like a dog that's really, really in tune with you, that you have a really good connection with. But they can actually, there's something in your body that changes, your heart rate, your blood, whatever. Each body is different, but there's usually something chemically that changes in your body, and they can sense that, and then they can hint to a migraine hours before you actually have one, so you can take medication and not have it. So yeah, so if you struggle with something like major migraines that like hurt really, really bad, you can get a service dog to like alert to that, and then you can do different alerts. Like for me, if I'm standing, he jumps up on me and gets in my face. If I'm sitting down, I'm training him to do one of two things. Either he jumps up on me or he scratches my leg. So he paws at my leg. But there's different ways that people ask them to alert them. It's whatever you want. But if they do that alert, then you can take medication before your migraine starts, and then it doesn't ever happen. Yeah.
So if it's that certain, it doesn't matter what size the dog is?
No. You would just probably want to get a dog that's young, because they do obviously retire. Kira's 7, so she is at retirement age. So you do probably want to get a dog that's younger, either a puppy or, you know, one that's 1 or 2 years old. Obviously puppies are harder because you have to potty train them. But yeah, so puppies kind of, you know, are iffy, but they are nice because you can train them the way you want them to be trained. But yeah, so you would just have to decide if you wanted like an older dog that's like 1 year or 2 years old, or a puppy. And then you'd probably want to do what's called temper testing, which I do as well. And that's a part of the training aspect of that, is knowing which dogs will pass as service dogs and which dogs will not and wash out. So for him, I temper tested him. Temper testing is pretty easy. I can actually show you guys with him. I think he's probably still small enough.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
We've never had a person like you come speak to our class before. So this is really interesting.
Thanks. Yeah, I like doing it.
Are there some other questions that you might have?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a lot easier to train your dog when it's like little, right? So what if it's like more than 2 years old? Would it like be harder?
I think yes. I think like for me in particular, I do not get any of my service dogs, or will not get any of my service dogs from previous people that have had them, just because they're trained that they're, you know, they can get away with certain things like getting up on the furniture, jumping up on people, barking at other dogs, whereas a service dog is trained to a specific standard. So I always get my like my service dogs as puppies so that I can train them from the get-go. This is what you can get away with. This is what you can't get away with. My dogs are not allowed on the furniture because of that very reason. I don't want them jumping up on, you know, benches or whatever in the mall or what. Like, I don't want them to be able to do that. I also don't let my dogs beg for like human scraps or anything like that. As a service dog, you don't want them drooling at like a restaurant underneath of the table. That would be bad, to leave like a big puddle of drool underneath of the table. So obviously you don't want to train your service dog to have people food or anything like that. They specifically get their food or dog treats. So I haven't fed him this morning, so he's just getting his regular food. If they're food motivated, that works. And then you can do like just regular dog treats if you want, but I never ever give my dogs people food. Whereas if you get them when they're older, they're usually going to be homed with somebody else. If you get a 2-year-old and you find them on KSL, they're usually going to be homed with somebody else. So, and that person will allow them to get away with more stuff than what a service dog is allowed to get away with, and it's a lot harder to train that bad behavior out of them. Whereas if you get them as puppies, that bad behavior is unacceptable from day one. It's a lot easier. So like he doesn't get on the couches or anything, whereas another dog that we had previously, he actually washed because of that reason. He was 3 months old. Yeah, he was about 3 months old. He was a German Shepherd, purebred German Shepherd. He was 3 months old, and he barked at other dogs. He jumped up on furniture, jumped up on people, like nipped at people. Like it was not a good thing. So we actually had to wash him. He was a good dog, but he didn't qualify as a service dog. So,
and there are certain cases, like Kira, she was 4 when Alicia got her, but when she was 2, she was actually rescued from her home because she was being abused. So her teeth have, like the back teeth have, they call it bar biting. Her teeth are round from trying to bite out of
Her cage.
her cage.
because she was in her kennel so much.
And so she got rescued from there. She went to a professional trainer for 2 years before she got her.
Yep.
So it can be done, because she had some bad behaviors before then, I'm sure.
She's about a $16,000 dog right there with all of her training. Yep.
Because of
and that's why when people bring their fake service dogs into stores and they lunge at service dogs like that, that's why we as service dog handlers get upset, is because you put thousands of dollars and thousands of hours into training that dog, and then one single accident like that can wash them and you have to start all over again. So but yeah, so it's kind of just a case-to-case basis. She was rescued, but she was trained by a professional that kind of took that abuse that she had and turned it around. I do not specialize in that by no means. I don't think I could take a dog that's been abused and be able to make it into a service dog. I don't think I'm qualified for that. Maybe not yet. Yeah. So, but yeah, she was sent to a professional. She had him like professionally train her. But typically I would say get him as a puppy. But if you don't like potty training, that might not be the best.
What would you do, for example, you found someone who had a fake service dog and it was pretty clear? Like, do you guys do anything, or do you just ignore it?
Usually for me, I just ignore it and try and go to the opposite side of the store so that my real service dog doesn't get attacked by that fake service dog. But the public can go to the management and say, hey, this dog is sniffing products, and barking at other people, being a public disturbance, and then at that point they can be asked to leave. Even if they are a service dog in training, even if it's a service dog in training, he is obviously not completely potty trained, and management can ask you to leave because it is a public disturbance to the rest of everybody else. You as somebody that sees a fake service dog, you can go to management and say, hey, in this aisle there's a service dog that is sniffing products and getting dog hair all over products, jumping up on the clothes racks, they're barking at other people, stuff like that, just disturbing your customers, and they'll be removed. So but for me personally, I usually don't do anything because I don't want to chance my service dog being washed out. So I usually just go to the opposite end of the store and just leave it be.
Is there anything else?
Yeah.
So like, if he's still in retirement, does he like still do stuff for you?
Mhm.
Or like?
Yeah, she still does stuff. She's definitely one of the tasks that she was trained to do is wake me up from nightmares. So if she's sleeping in our room and I'm having a nightmare, she'll jump on the bed and she'll wake me up. Stuff like that she still does. So technically she is still qualified as a service dog because she still performs her tasks. She's just an in-home service dog, and she doesn't go out in public with me. She doesn't have as much asked of her anymore because she is retired. He's kind of taking the brunt work of what she used to do. But legally she is still a service dog. So Payson is limited to, like, you can only have 2 or 3 dogs. For me, service dogs are not pets. They're actually considered medical equipment. So I have my 2 Akitas and then I have these 2. So I actually have 4 dogs, but 2 are pets, 2 are medical equipment. So they actually can't say anything. Same thing with housing. That's why they're allowed into like non-pet friendly housing. If you rent with your service dog or anything like that, you just have to get a note from your psychologist, whatever, proving that it is a service dog. Stores cannot ask you for that. Stores cannot ask you for proof of service animals. There is no certificate for service animals. I know that that is a common belief, is that, you know, service dogs are certified. They are not. There is no such thing as a certified service dog. There is no certificate or anything like that. Fakes like to flash that at stores. Like when they enter stores, they like to flash that and say service dog. And then when real service dog teams come and they don't have one of those, they say, well, you don't have a certificate, you're not certified, whatever, so you can't enter. And we do have a lot of issues with that, and then we have to call the police and get them involved. But yeah, so certificates are not real, but they are medical equipment, and housing and airports can ask for proof of a service dog. They're the only ones that can. Stores cannot. The only thing that they're required, or they can ask you, people, general public cannot. You don't owe the general public anything. But service, managers or door greeters or whatever in a public place, they can ask you, is it a service dog, and what tasks does it perform to do for you? So those are the 2 questions that they can ask. But housing can ask you for proof of service dog, which you would just have to get a letter from like your caregiver or like your psychologist, whatever. But yeah, so non-pet friendly housing, they have to allow them in, or Payson, they only allow 2 animals in the home, but they are medical equipment, so they don't count as pets per se.
And then are we like allowed to come up to the owners and say you're doing really good?
Yeah, you can talk to them, unless I would suggest reading like their patches on their vest. There are people that have asked me to make like, do not talk to me, it stresses me out, or it sends me into a panic attack or whatever. So if you read the patches on their vest, it usually can gauge you on what you can or can't do. Some say please don't approach, and that probably means that it stresses them out and sends them into an anxiety attack, panic attack, whatever, or they're just not comfortable with people approaching them. So I would say look on the dog's vest at the different patches. There's different patches that say, like this one says no talk, no touch, no eye contact. There's 2 of them either way.
And that's with the human, not with the dog.
Yeah, it's with
you
both.
read it for the dog, and you know that is for the human. Okay.
Yep. So it's on the dog's vest, and it says no talk, no touch, no eye contact with either human or dog.
Oh, human or dog.
Yep. So I mean, I would just look on their vest, and you know, some say that you can pet them. It says, you know, please pet me, or whatever. But most service dogs, you don't.
It made me really nervous when all those kids came out and they.
Yeah.
Make you a little nervous too.
Yep.
Wait.
Yeah. So for sure, that's something that you do struggle with a service dog. Service dogs aren't always the best solution for everybody, because with people that have high anxiety, I've had people privately message me from my YouTube channel and they ask me questions like, is a service dog right for me? And if they have super, super high anxiety with people coming up and talking to them, whatever, a service dog is probably not the best form of treatment for you, because you're gonna have a lot of attention with a service dog. Like, everywhere you go, you have a lot of attention, and you have a lot of people come up to you. You have kids that don't know any better, and they run up to you and they, you know, take your dog's fur, and you're like, no, 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 you know, like, and you just have to calmly tell them no. I've had people yell at me, like parents yell at me because I won't let their kids pet my dog. It's something that you have to be prepared to deal with, and so service dogs aren't always the best for everybody, but for some people it's a great solution. Some people, the cons weigh out, you know, the pros weigh out the cons. So,
and maybe some of you might want to take this. Maybe you want to go that route. That's a career.
It would be, it's fun.
It's a career.
It's fun. I mean, being a trainer, being a breeder is fun. I mean, having cute little puppies, it is hard because you do have to say goodbye to them at 8 weeks, but it's very rewarding, and then gear making is fun. I've had a blast making gear for people that need it, and, you know, donating gear and stuff like that. So, I mean, every aspect of what I do has rewards. So,
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Can there be like any breed, like depending on like?
Yeah. Service dogs can be any breed. Like I said, he's a Great Pyrenees Border Collie. You just kind of chance the I guess greater risk of having them wash and not work out. Mm-hmm. So he's obviously not a typical service dog. I know a ton of people that have Great Danes. Actually, I know one person that has a Great Dane. But another person is getting a German Shepherd Border Collie mix. So like, some dogs, they're not typical. Like Huskies are definitely not typical service dogs. I can let her off leash, you guys can pet her. Any breed of dog can be a service dog. Like I said, you just kind of have to gauge what you need the dog to do. For you, I mean, if you struggle with migraines, a little dog can detect migraines. So for you, like, a big dog wouldn't be needed. If you wanted a big dog, you totally could. But yeah, so any breed of dog can be a service dog. They definitely any breed has the potential. It's just finding that puppy that will be able to pass the standards of a service dog. So,
come in today.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get you out before the hallway gets full of kids.
Okay, sounds good.
So you can. Everybody good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.